Throughout history, unidentified flying objects of various shapes and sizes have appeared in our skies. Thousands have witnessed mysterious flying saucers, orbs, cubes, and tic-tacs. But unidentified triangle-shaped craft have been reported by thousands of witnesses over the last 4 decades. So the team has launched a new investigation.
Hello. How are you?
Thank you.
Good. Come on in.
Take one, Carter.
I was in the Army for 24 years. I got to Fort Bragg in January of 1990. Come August 1990 is when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait.
What Iraq has done violates every norm of international law.
In December 1990, on the eve of the Gulf War, a veteran who asked to be called JT is deployed to a large American outpost in the Saudi desert.
I was deployed north to Hafr al-Batin. It's in heavily scanned, restricted airspace. It was Super Bowl Sunday. It was just past sunset. Everybody else was watching the pregame show, and I was the only one out there. As I looked up into the sky, I saw something that really caught my attention because it was the only thing there. It was a triangle of 3 orangish-white lights drifting silently and slowly through the sky. They moved as though they were part of an isosceles triangle. This was not a high-altitude object, probably between 1,000 and 2,000 feet is what I would estimate. It was following a perfect due east course, drifting elegantly through the sky. There was absolutely no sound at all. I mean, nothing. I was stunned. I was straight up stunned. I went back inside the tent, and I told my best friend about it, only him. And he had told me that he had heard others talking about similar things. And we really didn't go into it too much because the Super Bowl started and Whitney Houston sang the national anthem, and that was it. Everybody else was sucked into the game. I've never seen anything like it since then or before then.
JT's sighting matches descriptions the team has heard before.
He had a very clear view of lights on the corners of the triangle. It's part of a stunning global pattern that's reported by people from all walks of life, as well as military and law enforcement personnel.
That doesn't fit any type of known aircraft that I'm aware of.
Another Gulf War veteran believes he witnessed a similar triangle UFO just over a year later in the same area.
It was 1992 in the central Persian Gulf. I was a Navy cryptologic technician trained in Persian Farsi, the national language of Iran. I often deployed to the Persian Gulf, where we provided theater-level support to intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions.
This is probably one of the more highly trained individuals that the U.S. military and the intelligence community has. For all intents and purposes, this gentleman is a spy on the combat field.
The Gulf War had ended only a year earlier. Tensions remained high. Michael Vai was on the USS Mobile Bay, patrolling the Persian Gulf, not far from the location of JT's Saudi Arabia sighting.
I was temporarily assigned, and I was taking some time to come get some fresh air and see what was going on. I made my way up to the 06 level, about as high as you can get on this particular warship. I was up there just sightseeing, skylarking, as they say in the Navy. There were no flight ops underway, and all of a sudden, there was a pulsing sound that I felt as much as heard. It was a very low-frequency rumble, between a rumble and a pulse. Like a... I looked up, and there it was. It was the most pristine, equilateral, black triangle flying directly over our ship, as if it had flown right up our wake. Each corner were these bright, round areas. The altitude of this thing was about 10,000 feet, and its relative speed appeared to me to be somewhere between 300 and 500 miles per hour. The aircraft did not leave a contrail. It was absolutely stunning, majestic. From the time that I first saw the craft until it faded from view, it was no more than 10 seconds. So I went back down below deck, and I saw no indication that this thing was being tracked on radar. At the speed at which I had seen this thing passing overhead, it should have still been on the radar picture. It was in broad daylight, a direct overflight of some of the most sensitive airspace on the planet. I was astounded by what I saw.
Though Michael Vai's Gulf War sighting is similar to JT's, the team notices one striking difference.
Once again, here we have this black triangle that shows up. And this was in broad daylight, by the way. This wasn't at night.
Which is unusual.
Yes. 2 aircraft at that time that I can think of that would fit that pattern of a triangle. One being the F-117, and the other one may have been some sort of stealth bomber.
But the silent profile would reduce observability.
A low-flying triangle with lights on each corner, no contrails, no sound of jets, and no visible source of lift. Could the triangle spotted by JT and Vai be explained by a top-secret U.S. warplane? Triangle-shaped aircraft are a part of U.S. stealth plane history. America's first stealth warplane, the hypersonic SR-71 Blackbird, first saw action in the late 1960s. The B-2 stealth bomber was unveiled in 1989. And the F-17 Nighthawk, a stealth attack aircraft, played a crucial role in winning the Gulf War. All 3 aircraft used a radical new triangle-shaped design, but the military witnesses are certain these are not what they saw.
It was not an F-117 Nighthawk. It was not a B-2 bomber. It had no sawtooth edges. It was a perfect black equilateral triangle.
Even at 1,000, 2,000 feet, you're going to hear something from a F-117 or any other aircraft. As it moved through the sky, there was absolutely no sound at all. Not even a whisper. I mean, nothing.
I have an advanced degree in aviation science. I worked government aerospace for 20 years. This didn't fit anything that had previously been rolled out publicly.